Now, when you're channeling, what is the process? Are you able to remember everything? Do you like take off to go to a dark corner somewhere and sit down? Do you remember? Does it give you energy? Does it take it away from you? How is the process?
It gives me energy if I don't do it for too long. So I've kind of learned that the sweet spot, like a big channel from me, will go for about 75 to 90 minutes. But
Okay.
the sweet spot's kind of 50 minutes to an hour. Um, it can creep up on you because right after doing a channel, you do feel open and alive. But then it will be a few hours later that it might hit my body. I don't remember it very well. I will come out of a 1 hour channel and I will remember about four things that I heard that piqued my interest because it's a bit like sitting behind and listening, but you're not involved. You could stop it at any time, but it's like you just sit behind your own head and let them come through and have the reins of the language and all of that. And even to this day, like Diana, who I do the books with, we're working on book three. Well, we've finished book three. Book two is about to come out, I think today or whenever this interview goes out. And she said to me, we're planning an event in Santa Fe for June of 2024. And she said to me, "Oh, that's really good because remember they talked a lot about what's in the earth in Santa Fe in book three." And I was like, oh yeah. So I'm gonna have to read that again before I go there because I don't. The info there's too much information, and also when you're doing it on behalf of other people, these aren't necessarily the things that you're looking for. So a lot of information comes through that sometimes is pertinent to you and your interests, and other times is serving the interests of others. So my own personal channels that I do for myself are always fairly short, and I will write myself a few questions, and I will do it on notes on iPhone or on the computer, and I'll put the date at the top, and I'll ask a question. I'll get a 3 to 5 sentence answer, and I may ask three or four questions, and I look back at those because they're helpful. They help guide me in my life.
So basically, what you're saying is kind of like a caffeine crash. 2 hours later, you crash.
Yes, yes, and I like caffeine, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
It's a good latte up front, and
yeah,
then you're wiped. It's
yeah.
well,
And sometimes you're wiped before. There's a weird thing that can happen to me, and it's not comfortable, but I've got used to it now. When I'm doing a public event, whether it's online or in a workshop room for a large group of people, I can feel like I want to fall asleep 15 minutes before, which is really counterintuitive because you're like, no, 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 I've got to. But I can literally feel like I want to go to sleep. And whenever I get that feeling where my whole energy starts to contract, um, I now know something big's about to happen with the channel. And it's never a comfortable feeling when you're trying to ready your energy to essentially produce, because you have to plug in and you have to be primed to hold that, especially if you're doing it for a group of people. So that can happen to me in advance as well, and I've got used to it now. But I don't like it. It's a bit like feeling sick, a bit nauseous.
well, let me ask you this, because I've heard from so many different channels that, especially some of the older channels I've spoken to that have been doing it 30, 40 years, that the body needs to be primed
Hmm.
to handle the energy originally, because it's kind of like, you shoving in the wrong voltage to the wrong outlet, and it will blow the nervous system,
Yeah.
literally the electricity, the electrical system in your body. So, but you started at 23. It didn't
Hmm.
seem like there was a priming process, or was there during all of those personal readings? You were slowly kind of priming it to the point where you are now.
Well, yes and no. I think what was weird for me was it was obviously meant to be because A, it just
Yes.
happened, and B, I started doing readings and they just took off. And it wasn't something I was putting energy into or effort into. I was showing up for it. I was taking it very seriously, but I didn't know that anyone would even come. And then a friend of mine who had an audience of 300 on her newsletter at the time, who was a yoga teacher, she said, "You should be doing this for people." Because I would help my friends. I would do like readings for friends who knew what I did. So I do remember, and I was talking about this to a good friend of mine recently who just resigned from doing personal readings. She'd done them for 10 years. We were talking about how you go on hold for the public or the person in a way that I guess anyone who has a front facing public, if you like, performance job where you have to deliver the goods at a certain time. It's not private. It's not that you're sitting at home writing or creating something that will later be given to the world. There is an element of you're on and you have to be on. And we were both talking about how we would notice on the days we were doing clients, the night before, the morning of, the day of, and the night we'd done them, you kind of had to hold yourself. Like you couldn't overstimulate yourself. You couldn't get too involved in certain things in your own life because you needed to stay open. And I now experience that same thing when I have an event or a live broadcast, or even you today. You know, there's a point about an hour before I engage with you where I'm like, okay, no, I don't want to hear from the accountant or the person who's helping me with the mortgage, or I have to disengage from that stuff. Otherwise, I'm not open to be able to open further when I channel.
To watch the full video, click on the link below, and don't forget to subscribe.